With an inflation-adjusted value of $300 billion, Andrew Carnegie was the fourth richest human of all time who donated 90% of his fortune in charity and upliftment of society before his death. Let's look deeper into his official accounts to know how Andrew Carnegie spent his fortune. Andrew Carnegie, a Scottish-American businessman, was the mind behind the expansion of the American steel industry in the 19th century. He is remembered as one of the world's most generous philanthropists. In 1863, at the age of 28, he was receiving dividends equal to $8.5 million per year, and at the age of 33 was having a net worth of $400,000. Which is the equivalent to $75 million in today's money. In the 1870s, Carnegie had held 40% of shares of Union Iron Mills, 20% stake in Keystone Bridge Company, 40% stake in Lucy Furnace Company, 30% stake in Pennsylvania Railroad, and large holdings in other publicly traded railroad companies. At the age of 51, after the death of his mother, Carnegie married Louise Whitfield, who was 30 at the time. He was seeing her for a decade, but didn't marry her because of his mother's disliking. The couple had only one girl child, Margaret. 10 years later, Carnegie died in 1919 of bronchial pneumonia. Andrew was a major contributor to the American steel industry by mass-producing steel by introducing his innovative vertical production system. This innovation helped him in the low-cost and high-quality mass production of steel. Moreover, he has the honor of single-handedly holding the largest iron and steel enterprise in the United States during that period. In 1891, Andrew Carnegie constructed a large Carnegie Hall for arts performances. It was designed by famous architect William B. Tuttle at the corner of 57th Street in New York City. This hall is one of the most famous concert halls in the world. In 1895, he also built the Carnegie Museums of Pittsburgh at an expense of $20 million. This building consists of a library, music hall, art gallery, and museum. While on a tour of Scotland, he established the Carnegie Trust for the Universities of Scotland. He contributed $10 million for scientific study and research. Moreover, this trust also provided scholarships for students. In 1903, Andrew Carnegie gave $1.5 million to build Peace Palace. The management of this property was later transferred to the Carnegie Foundation. Carnegie was fond of reading and writing. Across his success journey, he contributed to several famous publications like the 19th Century and North American Review. He published many of his books. His successful books included Triumphant Democracy and The Gospel of Wealth. He emphasized his writings around the American political system and conveyed his perspective on the responsibilities of wealthy people towards giving back to society. In 1909, Andrew Carnegie sold the Carnegie Steel Company to J.P. Morgan for $303 million. As J.P. Morgan lacked the $303 million in cash for the deal, they made payments in the form of paper bonds with a 5% yearly interest rate. Thus, the total value of the deal increased to $480 million, including the interests. In comparison to the U.S. GDP at the time, Carnegie's fortune is worth hundreds of billions of dollars now. His current-day net worth is estimated to be between $300 and $350 billion. After cashing out, one of his first actions was to donate $5 million for pensions of his steel company employees. The inflation-adjusted value of this amount is equal to $160 million. Did you know that Andrew Carnegie funded George Ellery Hale $10 million to build the 100-inch Hooker telescope at Mount Wilson? This is equivalent to $345 million in today's value. It is one of the most well-known telescopes in the history of observational astronomy. Andrew Carnegie also supported Booker T. Washington, an influential spokesperson for Black Americans in the formation of the National Negro Business League. This organization was indulged in boosting African American education. Andrew Carnegie believed that a wealthy person has the responsibility to give back to society instead of enjoying the riches. He established Carnegie Dunfermline Trust for the people of his hometown in Scotland. He donated $4.5 million to the trust in 1903. It is equivalent to $146 million in today's money. This trust worked on the overall development of the area, from the creation of numerous public institutions like parks, libraries, clinics, and colleges. The trust also assisted the community by learning handicrafts and music. Many youth centers, play fields, and women's centers were opened for the public welfare. In 1904, Andrew established the Carnegie Hero Fund Commission. The objective of this commission was to honor or help the descendants of heroes of civilization. Later, in 1908, Carnegie took this movement to the international level and established the Carnegie Hero Fund Trust in Britain. He established 9 such funds across Europe in Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Sweden, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, and Switzerland. For these funds, he collectively donated $18 million. The estimated value of this amount in modern times will be $585 million. Andrew Carnegie, as a trustee of Cornell University, was shocked to learn of the low pay scale for lecturers. He established a pension scheme for college instructors through the foundation. This established the first nationwide educational standards for colleges and institutions across the country. The foundation shifted its focus after 1931, focusing on research to improve education. There's much more of Andrew's contributions to society. His contributions mounted high after the sale of Carnegie Steel Company in 1909. In 1911, Carnegie established the Carnegie Corporation of New York to distribute the remaining $150 million of his fortune to the other Carnegie trusts, universities, colleges, as well as educational institutions. With a $10 million contribution, he established the Carnegie UK Trust in 1913 for the people of the United Kingdom and Ireland. This organization organized community services like child welfare schemes and the construction of community theaters. Apart from this, Carnegie also funded the construction of nearly 7,000 churches across the world. At the time of his death, Andrew Carnegie had already distributed more than $350 million of his fortune for social causes. When he died, his remaining $30 million was also distributed among his ongoing foundations and pensioners upon his death. Andrew Carnegie spent all his fortune on the betterment of society. Without a doubt, Andrew Carnegie deserves the title of one of the most generous philanthropists. Hope you enjoyed the video. Share it with your friends who would love to know about Andrew Carnegie and his generous social contributions. Subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so that you don't miss out on such interesting videos.